Hey everybody, Travis here from Let's Talk Joby, and getting first reactions on the great news that Joby has acquired Resonant Sciences. This is quite the interesting company. So, EVTOL fan, great to see you. What was your first reactions here as we see the Joby Defense portfolio grow significantly?
Boy, it was a big surprise. I think you really started to think about, wow, how long has this thing been cooking? We learned a little bit more about how this is something that's been in play for 3 years. Micah and JoeBen knew each other through the Jobs Ohio, and then I just wanted to learn as much as possible about this new sort of hidden defense tech gem. How about you?
It was something that, this is where Joby, they work in silence on a lot of different things and they don't always get credit for it. But what an incredible deal for us to see. And it was pretty clear, Joby wanted them. And that's something that, as you alluded to, has been years in the making. And we'll touch on, how Micah and JoeBen have quite similar mentalities and talk about founder mode. This is something for, Joby Defense now is actually going to be its own entity, which is now Resonant Sciences. And to hear Micah's background, his team's background, the incredible things that they're already doing, we just saw Joby Defense, I think, become a whole nother branch of the company that was bigger than we expected. So I am thrilled to hear this. And also, just as a note, to acquire this type of company with this type of technology already making revenue, that's a huge boon for I think the company, but also as a shareholder, really excited to hear what comes out of that. So EVTOL fan from the beginning of this Joby Recon, it was an incredible episode, but we saw Micah talking about the culture and the mentality that was the founding story of him beginning Resonant Sciences. And so we're going to watch this clip and we'll react on the other side.
That was really how we got started. We started with six of us. It was never about growing a company. It was never about growing a company. It was always about uh, um, doing the right thing for the warfighter. And it turns out that if you do that and you have that focus in mind and you keep mission focused, that it's a pretty attractive model for high end A players, and they wanted to be around it. And I always say A players attract more A players, B players attract C players. So we always try to keep A players around us, and I'm sure you have the same experience from your time as a pilot. You want to be around A players, you want to be around the best.
100%.
That's basically what you want to hear from a CEO, right? Like someone who cares about talent, understands how you attract talent, and has their own way about it. So I think that fits hand in glove with the Joby culture from my perspective. And having an HR background, you really need to think carefully when you're doing these M&A deals for the culture fit. And here's an example of Joby, doing all the work to find the right team to join. It's going to be awesome, I think, from that perspective. It'll help with talent retention. They're not going to have as many people going, "Hey, I don't know about this acquisition. Do you want to join Joby, et cetera, et cetera." And then also just being able to pick up and move really fast. When you don't have egos, you don't have all these like a cloud of who's in charge, what changes, things like that. I think we heard that Mike is going to head up the defense effort. And he seems like he's got a real clear understanding of his team, the Joby team. He knows what he's getting involved in. And more importantly, he knows the customer set. And I think it's a very demanding special operations world of military, very sensitive kind of topics and things like that. And so you need that very high performing A player mindset. And there it is on display.
Yes, certainly. As you said, this is the type of mentality you want in your CEO and leader. And to also know that with Micah's background, he's coming from the military mindset himself. He went to Virginia Military Institute. And so it's good to see that he's continued that, motto of being humble, but also being that type of leader that he's not going to settle for anything except for excellence. Excited to see what this partnership and acquisition is going to be for Joby, and looking forward to Micah now leading Joby Defense as well. All right, here we heard a little bit more from Micah about how his original first impressions of Joby, the company, were, and then how those evolved as soon as he met JoeBen.
Even I thinking, wow, that's really cool. Wonder if he can do it,
Yeah.
and wonder if it's going to go. And, after meeting him, it was no question. I was like, this is the guy who's going to drive, 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 and he's going to make it happen. And those are the type of people I love to be around. I mean, I'm one of those folks who's just drawn to being around people who want to build things and want to build business and want to build capability where there was nothing. And I think JoeBen to me is a really interesting person because here's someone who not only is a good business person and focus on building a company and building a business, but he's not just a finance guy. He's not just a banker who lashed up with a couple of engineers. He's a real no joke engineer, right? I mean, he's a real creator, and he's a got a technical mind on him, and that's kind of rare to find somebody who is a good business person, wants to grow a business, and is a technical expert. That's really unique. I mean, how many of those guys are there in the country? I can think of like 3 or 4, and that's about it. So. Um, Anytime you get an opportunity to hang out with somebody like that and who's smarter than you, you take it. There's
100%.
plenty of people smarter than me. So I try to learn from everybody I can.
So that's a huge sign for me of a CEO who understands what he's getting into, is looking forward to it. And from an M&A perspective, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear the CEOs of the acquired company talking about it, not just for the staff. And he's talking about it for himself. I think we've all seen that JoeBen's got something special. He's attracted A players to his team. And here's another one. So I'm really excited. I think it was notable, some of the comments he made around, other situations where you've got people plugging in different ways. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
I think, as you mentioned, A player is one of the themes that ran through this entire Joby Recon episode. And to hear that, Micah understands what the vision is and to understand that he really wants to be a part of what that future is. And he's built an incredible business himself, Resonant Sciences. And then now not only to be acquired by Joby, but then JoeBen has entrusted him with the Joby Defense piece of the business. That Resonant Sciences will be the name of Joby Defense now, but that's not just an acquisition. He's handing him one of the torches that he's been holding for a long period of time. So an incredible bit of news. And I think that's a great segue, as you mentioned, a couple of comments that he highlighted there. And I think one that is really critical is JoeBen is not just a finance individual. He's not just a business individual. He's a visionary that has all those things together. And that is a very rare trait. And as we heard, JoeBen is not just a banker who linked up with some engineers that might have tried to essentially do something similar. JoeBen is the real deal. This is his story. This is his company. This has been a long dream for him, and that dream is coming to reality. So really thankful to have both JoeBen as the CEO of Joby, but then now have Micah as the leader of Joby Defense.